Welcome everyone to Grape Finance's weekly AMA. My name is Nikki, and I'm here to host this thing. And with me here is LB. Welcome, LB.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening in.
Definitely. And I see that Dave is here too. Dave maybe even wants to put his
Dave,
video
nice.
on.
How you going?
How's it going?
Yeah, there he is.
Can pop it on. It's a little later, so I got time to clean up a bit more.
Yeah. 2 hours ago, we did another AMA. So this is the second in a row for Dave and me.
Nice.
Glad you're here though, Dave.
Yep, absolutely.
Very much. All right then. Uh, Starting with the end of question. No, wait. Let's start with. Do you want to say anything before I budge into the questions, Albie? Do you want to? Do you have some things to start with?
Well, I guess we just have a a recap of where we are, where we're going. So we launched a game like last week. I'm pretty sure we had an AMA post the game launch.
Yeah.
Who knows with crypto? It's like every day is the same day. But we're holding in this area, and I think what needs to happen obviously is we need to just release what we're planning to release anyway, and then along with some marketing for that, because this whole kind of space is tied to there's so much stuff happening in this space that it's really tied to keeping, you could say, hype going almost, to keep momentum moving. In other words, momentum's kind of like a big thing in seigniorage protocols in general and in DeFi in general. So we released the first version of the game, and we're going to continue to update some things on that. And we have some bigger releases coming this next week, and then in the following weeks, and that's leading then up into our major release in a few weeks, pending audit completion. So I mean, things are looking good. Obviously, it's just a little bit of a kind of waiting period right now, or like a quiet time until we start to release new things and build momentum from there.
Well, there have been quite some things coming out, right? A whole casino coming out as well. So it might be a waiting period a bit, but it's not like nothing's happening.
It's not like nothing's happening. Um, the casino did just launch yesterday, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. I think I
Yeah.
have some stats for it. What was the numbers? We had about $6,000 go through it already. Is in
Cool.
like playing dollars within. It's not even a day old.
Oh,
Yeah, it launched less than a day.
that's pretty cool.
That's not
That's
bad.
yeah, that's a pretty cool start. I love that. All right, but we should really go to the questions because there's a lot of
Yeah.
them. All right. I'm gonna also just try and go through them a little bit quickly. So if I do cut you off, LB, it's because of there's just a lot of questions. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
beforehand. All right. We're starting with Graz, who's asking, do you have any date for the wine press already? He's guessing the wine press is the detonator.
Yeah, it's this Wednesday is the planned date. So yeah, this Wednesday.
Right. Good. Then we move on to Cabanita, who's saying, or asking rather, will Vinium burn grape somehow, or maybe part of the interest rate?
No plans to burn grape on Vinium. You will be able to, because the idea is, you use your grape as
Yeah.
collateral. But in saying that, we're planning to use the magic auto vault for grape, which does burn grape. So technically, indirect way, we're kind of like saying, hey, put your grape in the auto vault, let it auto compound, which means it's buying grape in the first place, and then also burning grape using the performance fee. So indirect, yes, but directly, no, because you need to keep the collateral.
So there's a lockup really, in a way. So it's not necessarily burning, but it's also definitely not selling. All right. Peter Flea is asking, Yo fam, back with another round of questions. Wine press. Do you think this will move the price of wine? The game hasn't moved the price of grape at all. In fact, gone down. Why? And also Vinium. I loved Geist, but the token tanked. Man, this guy goes everywhere with this thing. Any concerns? Your platform could go the same way. Concerns from a solid supporter. Thanks for the hard graft. Appreciate it.
Well, I mean, I guess with the leading up to the game and post the game, we rose pretty well. Like we hit 90 cents post the game launch. We were in the 70s, we hit 90 cents. So we had an increase in the price going to the game, post the game launch. But then it shifted. We basically just had like one large sell of like 50K grapes or something, and then that shifted the momentum the other way. It's funny how it's very easy to shift momentum in these low TVL you know, LPs basically. So but you know, wine press should have some increased demand for wine, obviously, because right now there's only the farms as it is now, and they're the wine press will be a higher APR than it is locked, but it is a higher APR, over double. I can't see exactly what the APRs are now, but they are probably kind of low because of the wine price. So it should boost the wine price, which will then boost the APRs, and then in the farm, and then help incentivize, you know, LPs in the grape MIM as well. So that's kind of like an effect that impacts everything together, which is nice. With the Vinium is like we'll have the Vini token, which will be part revenue sharing for the platform, part also you know, royalty token for the platform. And, you know, it's whenever you have a reward token for the platform is what I meant. So like whenever you have a reward token, there's obviously sell pressure on the token because it is a reward token, but it is designed to incentivize people to use the platform in the first place, which is kind of what you need to do when you're bootstrapping a platform in the beginning. So there is a balance there. We will be you know, giving stakers platform fees basically. So that's another thing. And then you'll also be locking. You can also lock the token and go into the stability module, which then not only keeps the platform secured through liquidations, you also get a portion of those liquidations as well. So there's another actual added benefit. I mean, the problem with Geist is that it kind of went too high too quick, probably because it was in a bull market. It launched in a bull market, went too high too quick, and then kind of depleted from there, like basically every other token did, to be honest. So it's hard to you know, kind of avoid that, to be honest. If you launch in a bull market, you're gonna have a big pump, and then eventually it's gonna dump because the market's changed the other way. But when a market comes around, it'll probably come back around. So I mean, that's kind of how it is.
Since projections are that September will be the probably the lowest of the low, and then we'll have sideways trading for about a year. So that should be good, right? If we need to believe the projections. But yeah, cool. I think you've answered them all. That's good. Peter Flea goes on, if we go into wine meme LP and the wine pumps from 80 to say 160, if I come out of that LP when wine is higher, would I still have impermanent loss even though pack to stable? You if you would have held full wine, you'd have gone 2x, and if you would have held stables, you'd have gone 1.5x in this situation.
Mhm.
This
The LP,
you personally in LP, like the value of your LP will have gone up half as much as pure wine would have. This goes both ways, like up or down.
Mhm.
You halve your move,
Mhm.
which is not necessarily bad.
Yeah. You farm with the thing is you can farm with LP and you can earn yield while doing it, and you know you it's a different thing. You hold the wine, it's obviously higher risk because you're 100% exposed to both up and down movements. With you in the LP, you're almost hedged because you're kind of also tied to the stable coin at the same time. So it
Yeah,
works
and at the
both
same
ways.
time, you get some um, you get some incentives from the trading itself, like because you
Mhm.
hold LP. Whenever anyone trades, you get some of that. It's not a lot, but you get some. And of
Mhm.
course, since you're putting it into farm, you also get some of that. But
Mhm.
that's the same with wine if grape is above peg.
Yeah.
All right. Now the next one was a bit of a bit much, so I kind of paragraphed it for myself because otherwise it wasn't doable. It's Bendy Bear who said, so first of all, hey buddy, I had a few questions myself gathered from the topics and questions I've seen coming by in general chat. What exactly is your view of Winemaker in the future of the grape ecosystem? Guess that's the first question.
Mhm. Well, I guess it's our entry into the game market. You could say is a good use of grape. I mean, you can see from the numbers, it's 5% of the supply has been locked or taken out of circulation completely, or actually burnt, which is a ridiculous amount considering we started with over 5 million supply before the game. So that's incredible. So that's like it's a good helper for the grape ecosystem in that regard. But it's also its own thing in that we'll expand on it. We'll probably release maybe even a new game that's kind of tied into it, maybe like a V2 of the game. I don't know. It's kind of a new product that we can play around with and you know expand on, attract a different market as well. That's the game market. Give you an extra use for grape as well. Um, so I think it's something fun as well. It's different to the standard DeFi. People look at games, the play to earn games differently than like a Tomb Fork or any other DeFi protocol. It's
Yep.
less serious. It's more fun,
Yeah,
and that I think is good.
it is. And then what things are you looking to add, and how much of a priority will the game be when both Vinium and WinePress are out?
Well, we're looking to add obviously the standard stuff like new skills, new tools. Looking to maybe do a upgradable NFT. We'll see about that. But and then maybe looking to also do a couple other things like adding new mechanics, like you could say a new mechanic where certain things happen in the game that you then have to adjust your playstyle to. Um, like Pizza Game has done as well, but um, we can also add, new things like new pools, new we can integrate. The cool thing is we can integrate the vintage token into the standard pools that we have, like we have already technically done with the S vintage staking, kind of like looped it in together. So we'll continue to incentivize that and boost that, but we can add it into the other things that we have coming as well. And that's just how we like tie it together. But in terms of the game and how we're going to expand on the game, there's a lot we can do. We just launched it. So right now we're kind of just like seeing what works and what doesn't work and then expanding from there. We'll start with the basic stuff and then kind of maybe vamp it up a little bit. And I guess in terms of priority, it's going to be its own thing. The lending system is kind of like the core focus, core feature of Grape, you could say, because it's taking us beyond taking us beyond seniorage, taking us beyond Degen DeFi, so to say. You could say that. That's a probably good way to say it. It's taking us into an actual service that will provide revenue over the long term, which is how you have to survive. You have to adapt to that to survive in this space over years. Whereas the game is something that's kind of fun that we can actually make use of in the same way, but by doing upgrades, making new features, doing a different release that ties into the old release, things like that. It's kind of like an experimental thing that we can have fun with. So it's will still be a priority, but it's a different focus, so to say. We got the lending system, which is a focus for revenue, and the game, which is a focus for experimentation and some extra utility for Grape and fun as well. Fun for the community as well is a big thing on that.
Awesome. Yeah, and then they add, like, in the future we have Winemaker, Wine Detonator, Vinium, Notes version 2, LPs, and so on. I'm wondering what spot you see for Winemaker and how do you want to upgrade the game so it can work together with all the other parts of the Grape ecosystem. And I guess you just explained all of that, so it doesn't really need an answer. But yeah, this is what's all going to happen. Like, it's not just going to be just the seniorage protocol anymore. It's just going to be so much more. Also, I've heard from a few people that they are worried about Nodes version 2 going the same route as Nodes version 1, but at a slower pace. Do you have any unique plans for Nodes version 2? Sorry. To make them stand out? And what will prevent Nodes version 2 from going the same route as Nodes version 1? Well, just answer what you already can answer, right? Because it's still going to be put out.
Well, we don't have a complete direct plan, like a complete implementation, so to say, of V2, but we will have the sliding APR as well, and they'll be more adjustable in that we can also migrate things and kind of automate things as well. So I mean, it's still like a degen play anyway, but it will have a sliding APR, which is kind of like the main, you could say, problem with the current nodes is that they don't have that, because then you really don't incentivize any behavior that's good for the protocol. People that just claim continuously, which is their right to do, they can do it, but they get the same APR as someone that compounds in a ratio that's probably beneficial to yeah. So I mean, that's kind of like that's a main one.
So it won't
adjustability is another one.
So it won't go the same route exactly because of that. Because it's more
a big one.
Yeah, it's big to claim that, but so I wouldn't say claim. Maybe it might still go the same route, but there's less chance of it because it's more beneficial to go a healthier route. Maybe that's the way to put it.
Look, you can't just, first of all, you have to adapt, and you can't just have it so that it's just, I'm going to earn this percentage for the rest of my life forever just by clicking this button. You know what I mean? We need to do something that there needs to be effort put on both sides. So in other words, they still have a max limit, but we need to fix the max limit that they are in the current contract to actually implement a hard max limit in this contract. But at the same time, we can adapt and we can move. Once we have a revenue model, we can move into actually utilizing that revenue to almost migrate from a pure node system that only just relies on a reward pool to a node system that is also supplemented by actual revenue that is provided through a service. So it's not just like constant inflation, basically, even though it's a constant recycling of the same tokens, in other words. So, you know, the point is that it's like, in order to make anything last, you have to constantly adapt. There's not like one thing that you can just make and it's going to last, especially in tech. One thing that you make in tech that's going to last, 20 years. I mean, it's not really like, you look at Bitcoin, you think nothing's changed in Bitcoin, but in reality, the entire code base has been completely rewritten in the last 10 years. And if it hadn't, it would have died. So it needs to, and that's Bitcoin. So
which moves as slow as can be.
Exactly.
But still, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
then comparing,
Oh.
nodes V1 to where we'll be when nodes V2 are out, Grape is going to have significantly more use cases.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the people choosing to dump may choose to use their Grape as leverage instead of dumping. So that will also help.
That is a big difference as well. So even if you claim, it doesn't necessarily, and you don't really know what to do with it, doesn't even mean that you sell. You can also claim and then put it up as collateral, then borrow against it, stuff like that. So keep up the Grape, right? Keep it high. All right. This is actually something I really get. Also, people are hesitant to make notes now since I feel like it's pointless. The moment they make their ROI notes V1, V2 might come out and return to them their initial investment anyway in the form of migration. This is kind of like, how are you going to migrate? Is this going to be the same as with the Y nodes, right? That's sort of the question that I'm feeling. Like,
Yeah, well, I guess we have to design a proper migration, which is kind of why you can't just like, let's do it like right now, because it would be that you've technically already claimed your ROI in terms of you have now a lower max, you could say. So that would be implemented into it so that it's not just like, you claim max now, you claim ROI now, you're going to get a bonus when you migrate. That's something that we'd want to avoid.
yeah. Yeah. So actually you would want to say people who are still just into nodes and compounding nodes, they will be ahead of the people who are just full claiming.
You'll have more nodes, and that's a bonus.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, last question. From the same list, are there any plans to explain to more beginning investors the ins and outs of both Vinium and WinePress, since most people have no clue what they actually mean and what they do? And then it says, he says also, I know Fizzle's working on an educational program to help educate people better. So maybe that will be something nice to integrate in the website or make a like a separate learning channel in the Discord for people to go to. Well,
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's education is a big thing, but it's kind of, it's not like we can reach every single person on earth or every single person that's going to use the platform either. It's very difficult. You can't like Agent Orange them, force their eyes open and make them watch a video or something, but it's so we just need to like blast it everywhere we can. these products, lending products are kind of sometimes difficult to understand. There's a lot of moving parts, just like seniorage protocols in general. There's a lot of moving parts, and same with the wine press. There's a few moving parts that is kind of makes there be a learning curve that may be difficult for some people, and you try and make that as easy as possible using, with as much education as possible on multiple mediums as well, because some people learn better on different mediums. So you want to just have as much information as possible, but as clearly and as easily digestible as possible as well, which is something that we try and do, but it's something that's kind of like an ongoing, continuous job, basically, based on feedback, based on everything that comes in. So it's not something that we can obviously it's a difficult thing to
and it's
it's
also
difficult,
just
but yeah,
it also just takes time, right? For
takes time.
example, when back in the day when I made these first educational videos, I mean that was about a day of filming per video, and then Dave had to work on it as well. Like also a lot of work on his side, and that day of filming was me and someone filming me. So it's three people working for about a day for a video that is about 10 minutes long. So
Yeah.
it's not a quick thing to do, but it's definitely something we should look into, right? Not just
Yeah, it's a
thing.
continuous role. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should go and make those videos again, or at least make new ones. Let's see. Heaven's Gate says when lending and borrowing is ready, and we use outside tokens as collateral, could we eventually see Grape partially backed by debt, like MIM yield USD or YUSD? We could have a hybrid of seniorage and collateralized stablecoin.
That is definitely something that's possible. I know Aave is actually doing that. They're implementing a collateralized stablecoin, and obviously they have the lending platform. But they have, it's not something that you can start with like straight away, but it's something as well that we may want to eventually move towards anyway, over a longer period of time. So something to think about.
Yeah. Pretty suggestion. Thank you so much. That is Pandy Bear again. Pandy Bear. I had a question. What's the end goal? What's the end goal for Grape Finance, aside from rolling out other changes described in the roadmap? And do you intend to add any IRL value to the protocol in the future? Was the end goal still the same as back in the day, LB, or has it changed? It's a good question.
You could say it's kind of it's relatively the same. And the beginning goal was kind of create a DeFi hub with Grape as the center. And so that's kind of where we're going, really. We're trying to go into more, revenue-based DeFi, and eventually, I think we want to migrate into that completely, so that we're not relying on inflation, and we're not relying on, recycling tokenomics. Basically, we're relying on providing a service and making a good service that people use, and they pay a fee for that service that then gets pumped back into the ecosystem itself for all the holders. That's kind of the idea where we want to go. And to do that is, a DeFi ecosystem of multiple services, obviously lending and borrowing at the heart of that, because that's a very big service in DeFi in general. And then you can go like next kind of phase would be the a leverage yield farm, which kind of ties into the lending system as well, but then also ties into what we do anyway, which is farming on our site as well. So that's kind of, it also ties into what people love, which is farming, farming rewards. So, I mean,
Works.
in terms of in real life value, that is in real life value. Are you talking about like tying a real world business to crypto? When you get into that kind of stuff, it's really gray area. It's really like can only operate in these countries to these people. They have to then prove their identity. You know, it's getting into way too much until there's proper, like almost you could say global level, or at least clear guidelines on like, you know, even just doing an NFT mint with using AVAX or like using a token, like that's still gray area, to be honest, in a lot of the world. So I mean, until that sort of stuff is sorted out, I don't see us going like tying a real world company to crypto, because then you really have to not only have to sort out heaps of regulation stuff, red tape stuff. Whenever you deal with government stuff, it's just crazy. And then you know the same goes with like you got to pay lawyers to make sure it's all set up. The regulatory licensing you probably likely have to get as well, and then you have to watch that you're not selling or making a security, which is a very big thing, very big gray area. You don't want to unknowingly be selling an unregistered security to United States investors. That's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, that is difficult, right? Because that this whole securities versus commodities thing is very much in the United States,
Yeah.
which you and I are both not in. I mean, Dave is, but you and I are both not in. And then we should still sort of look at that, because a lot of our, a lot of the Grape Finance clients or users are in the United States, and then you've got that not just for the United States, but for just about every country, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And you cannot just say, well, you can, but you shouldn't just say, hey, it's your problem, right? You're in the United States. You find it. You figure it out.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, you can say that, but it's still hard. On the other hand, I do see, for example, here in the Netherlands, it's you're perfectly able to order food and buy with Bitcoin on the Lightning Network.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
also
Nice.
perfectly able to order, for example, silver and gold and pay with BNB. Such
Oh,
things
nice.
are absolutely possible, but it's just it's the beginnings, right? It's not there
It's
yet.
coming together, right? Nothing is
It's
like
coming.
clear on a in certain countries they have clear guidelines, but in a lot of countries like the US, for example, like which is the biggest market by far,
Yeah,
does
they're a
not
bit
have clear
slow.
guidelines. And they're also like they're the guys that will come after you as well.
Yeah. Big bad US.
Uh,
No, they're also nice. Let's move on. Taz is saying, do we have marketing and communication plans to announce when Winepress and Vinium to hype things up? I think you've already answered yes to this, right?
yes, yeah.
All right.
With
Then
a
we
couple
move
other
on.
things as well, yeah.
And more. All right, Pandy Bear, you're very active. With the removal of wine nodes, wine also disappeared from the monthly airdrops. Are they planning to incentivize the grape NFTs by more by pulling wine from the wine press to add to the airdrops? Do you have other plans for the grape NFTs? The grape NFTs.
Yes, we can in the immediate term we can pull from the wine press as a little bonus. Especially we can give that out below peg as well. So that's okay. That's probably good.
Right. And then Ashen to Ashes wishes to know, will the wine press also use referral links like the mind games do?
Oh, it does. Yeah, there is a bonus for that. If you don't have one, then it just goes back to the just goes to the treasury.
So we're the basic referral link, and otherwise it's one of the users. All right. Will the Nodes V2 have a grape burning mechanism? Also.
Possibly haven't, but also possibly not, where it just goes back to either the treasury to then use. So it takes it out of, really the goal is take it out of circulation. So either locked in the pool and then a portion to the treasury as expected basically, but taken out of circulation more likely than a direct burn.
All right. Here's an upvoted question, also Pandy Bear, saying, are there plans to implement a sell tax when below PAG? Right now, the node users have no penalty when selling. With a sell tax below PAG, they would have another incentive to regain PAG instead of constantly dumping their node rewards. Or is this something you'll be looking to implement in Nodes V2? Well, Nodes V2 is going to work differently. Lots of question for me this week. Sorry. All right. So I guess it's a kind of a yes/no question, right?
Yeah. Well, we can't implement a selling tax on Grape itself because we need to redo the contract for that. And obviously, we're renounced. We can't really do it. To do it, we'd need a totally new replacement Grape contract, and then we need a new treasury and a new boardroom to go with that. It's possible, but it's like for a sell tax, I don't think it's worth it. Considering sell taxes have been used on Toon Forks a lot below peg. Like on the peg, they have been used below peg. They haven't really worked very well on the peg token. People just sell anyway.
Yeah, that doesn't really work. So it needs to have another. You actually need to do something with the tax that would actually help the protocol. Otherwise, it won't work. And that's hard if you tax the PAC token. All right. Ashes has a good question here. Are there quests planned for the winemaker? Like
that's something that can be pretty cool.
That is actually really cool. Like that. So there's an old farmer having, this question mark above his head.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Listen to me. Need this. All right. All right. Jake, we're going through it pretty well. I'm happy with this. JK Mad Lad says, can we get Horde LMS for V2 nodes? No, well, only if we have a new token, right? It's the node liquidity manager keeps the price table, I guess. So yeah. So he's explaining Horde LMS.
Yeah. Obviously, I know Horde.
Yeah,
we just implemented it into the LAR token.
Yeah.
So
is a partnership with Horde possible? It is. And what are your thoughts on that? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
yeah, I've spoken to Horde already. I've actually implemented the LMS into the LAR token already as well, so I know exactly how it works and how it can be implemented. And at this stage, it's not possible because the contract is renounced, and you have to add several functions into your contract, so that all buys and sells go through your token contract, then through the LMS. So we can't do that without, as I mentioned just before, without a whole new token, and then a new treasury and a new boardroom to go with that as well. So it's not possible in a functional sense, because you can't just add it to the nodes as well, because it's kind of like it has to be added to the token because it's controlling the token price, not the nodes. And obviously we have other things that emit Grape, like the boardroom, in the winery, and everything else. So
yeah, and this is now I think not the first time, at least, that we say no, we can't do that, and this all has to do with the fact that we our renounced contract. It might sound like, yeah, what idiots, why did you do that? But I would say back in January, February, everyone was clamoring and calling for renounced contracts because the renounced contracts were, one of the ways in which a rug could be completely excluded. Like if you've renounced the contract, you've lost the mint function, and if you've lost the mint function, you cannot rug. So to gather trust, it was absolutely necessary for us back then to renounce the contracts because we weren't known yet. Grape wasn't known yet. LB wasn't known yet. It was all, we were just another one on the block. And I think right now, if we would start anything, we could just keep the contracts and maybe adjust them as we go, make them upgradable, whatever. But right now, back then, it simply wasn't possible. So I don't know. That's just I felt like I needed to explain that a little bit. There's just a lot now that's simply impossible because the contracts are renounced, and it's kind of a big thing to go from to redeploy contracts. It's not small, and I think there's a lot to do without doing that. I think actually we can work with it pretty well. You are doing that, LB. All right. Josh has another idea for the cell text below pack, a dynamic APR. People who claim daily shouldn't get the same APR. Yeah, that's what the Node v2 are going to do. So it won't be beneficial to just claim. All right. Then we move on to Saint. Can you touch on the randomness of the casino games? I'm curious to how we ensure no foul play.
I have to actually speak to Nate. He's built them with another dev there. So you'll need to talk to Nate about it. We should add that into the docs or something like that.
Yeah, I
I'll
know
get that from him. Yeah.
Casino V1, I believe you signed on off chain for the randomness, and then it sent that data back to, I think, Nate and the team there to distribute rewards on chain. I don't know how V2 works, but I would imagine since they were aware of that issue in V1, they did not make it worse for V2.
Yeah.
Would be weird, yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's how it works, right? I assume that's how it works. Maybe if you're looking into it now, Dave, and you know it later on in the AMA, you can still tell us. Different topic, also by saying if it has not already been discussed, what's our dedicated pack campaign all about? I'm hoarding everything I can right now. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we've I mean, AIMS have come to us and offered their peg campaign to us, so we're going to try it out. It's basically a pool where you if you have some LP, you can split the LP, single stake the grape, and then use the MIM side, deposit into the contract, which then buys grape, and then or buys half grape, and then there's a incentive to hold it into that pool. You'll earn wine token as well when you do that into the pool. So you earn the wine. We may also incentivize with another token in that pool as well. And then what happens is, I mean, you can withdraw at any time, but there's a penalty below the peg for withdrawing from that pool. And whenever you withdraw, it then adds the grape and the MIM together in an LP and withdraws as the LP. So like it splits that you split the LP first, but it eventually recreates the LP anyway. But then also adds buying pressure because you're depositing into the contract, which then buys grape at that time as well. So and you're incentivized to do so because you'll earn some extra tokens while doing so. So it's
Cool.
it's an experiment, obviously, but it's something that
Yeah.
should we add some actual buy pressure to it as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, when you started the story, I was like getting a little worried. Like, are we gonna split LP? Like, remove all the LP, and then no, okay. But so it comes back into LP later on in the story.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
cool. I
yeah.
like it. I of course I don't know the deep of it, but I like this explanation. It's nice. When Wine Press by Unclaimed Rewards. Well, Wednesday. C plus Z. Oh, no, I'll just leave it at that. Will there be a way with V2 nodes to convert Grape into WinePress? Or after a certain amount of days, my balance can be pushed to whichever project in the ecosystem I wanted to go into.
Probably not directly, as in like the contract does it for you, but obviously you can do that. Which is kind of, I guess, the well, I mean, it's kind of what we'll do here is that you can take your grape and put it into wherever you want from the contract. As in, you can claim and then put into single stake. You can put it into the LP. You can sell it for wine, and then put it into the wine press. You can put it into Vinium later on. Obviously, try and keep with the recommended strategy. If we blow peg, try not to sell the grape. I mean, the thing is, if we had it automated, well, then it would sell the grape to go into the wine press because it kind of needs can't use grape to do it. Oh yeah, but also there's a lottery in the wine press as well, which does use grape, so you can use it in there directly as well. So not automated, but you can obviously do many things with it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Then there's Chenko Fix It. Actually, Chenko Fix It. I like everything you write. However, these are suggestions, and especially since we are not all that big on time, I'm gonna leave them as suggestions and not ask them as questions so much in the AMA. I'm sorry about that. However, they are nice suggestions, and thank you for them. But there's a second thing by Chenko Fixes as well. Winemaker, thank you for the game. I'm really enjoying it. I feel it feels good to burn and level up. Nice. I know you said last time AMA Vintage could go to 1 cent as its game token. 1 week later, there it is. The wizard made it real. Not an issue to me, but if you want to attract new people to play and burn, you should be valuing Vintage much more. Needs more utility in the ecosystem ASAP. I am with the team on not do a 30-day ROI game that will fail miserably in a few months, but laying a no expectation to ROI NFT game defeats the point of having an NFT game at all. And then there are some more suggestions as well. So I like the fact that he's got all kinds of creative ideas. There's a lot of text though.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are going to be, improving the game as we go along, and they'll be adding more things for Vintage, more things to do with Vintage, and also Grape as well. Obviously, right now you can stake your Vintage in the cellar, get S Vintage, and then stake that in the wine in the vineyard for wine. As it is right now, and we are going to boost that S Vintage pool as well, so that you can essentially earn more vintage from your S Vintage staked in the cellar from other people's claims, while also earning wine at the same time. So it's a double yield. But that's just like an initial thing, and we'll add some more things in the game for Vintage as we go along.
All right. Then it's a question on Vinium. Any possibility in L1 LPs as collateral like AVEX MIM, ETH AVEX, etc.? I think yes, right?
Yes, but probably not in the Aave style platform, because we don't want like 30 different markets, for lending. What we'll do is those kind of LPs will primarily be in the leverage yield fund, because that's kind of what you're going to want them for, really, to be honest, to leverage your position and earn higher yields at the same time. And then we can also run cool strategies on that, like like a neutral strategy where you're just capturing the yield. Basically, you're long and short at the same time by capturing the yield, which is something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. All right. Is minting collateralized grape similar to MIM or YUSD from Finium in the plans in any way? And also staked grape or S grape, is it going to be used like as vintage or as AVEX? Would be awesome. These small,
Yeah. Minting collateralized grape. I think we mentioned this before today,
yeah,
but
we have.
something, I mean, it's not on the table right now, but something that we may move towards down the line. I don't know,
Right.
possibly. The
Okay.
staked grape is essentially the auto vault that we have. So technically it is.
Awesome. Then we move on to Faisal asking this question for our friend Choppy. This is the last one. From here, I'm going to go to the AMA live chat, see what's happening there. I'm going to ask this one for our friend Choppy. Would it be possible to implement a progressive lotto where each day or week the pot would get larger if no winner was drawn? Going off the success of large lottos in the real world, this could be a great attractor of people to Grape. Or maybe the wine press lottery could be adapted, not already, to a progressive model, as opposed to the structure that the EMP detonator currently has.
The wine press does have a portion of the rewards that go back into the lotto for each round. So yes, it is somewhat progressive. And we can add, there's something also we can add progressive lotto as well for either maybe MIM and grape, either.
All right. Then I'm moving on to the AMA live chat. Someone is very happy it's Wednesday. I mean, it's going to be Wednesday. That's good. Thank you, Taz. All right. So what I'm gay is asking Nikki. I know this is off topic. Well, it's an AMA, bro. But I want to know if you are single and if you fancy man. Oh, I think I should say thank you. Because I think I would see it as a compliment from someone who's calling himself So What I'm Gay. I I'm not single. I have a wife and a girlfriend, and they know each other by the way, and it's all nice. And I also don't really fancy man, or at least, I would say some men are really beautiful, but that doesn't mean I would like to share any beds with them. Yeah, right. So if someone is really good looking, I'm more like, I want to look that way too, which is different from I want you very close to me. So no. However, yeah, this is kind of what it is. Captain Double Blade almost missed an AMA. Well, all right. Let's see whatever happens here. Lettuce is asking, will there be additional incentives to hold wine when below peg?
I guess the wine press is technically that. We're also looking at something for the Vinium platform with wine, which may be something as well, something cool. But I won't mention that right now. They may come
All right.
after.
This is coming. Phew. let's see if we can make the hour. Well, might have a little bit go a little bit longer. Will there be? What will be the full utility of Grape when we are integrated into Mover? Is Lettuce is asking
Yeah.
this.
Essentially, Mover is a card provider. They mainly offer cards for Europe right now, but expanding elsewhere soon. And you can use the you can use tokens to top up your card basically. So we're going to we can either have a way where we can stream payments to it, stream yield to it even. You can use things like the auto compounding token for it. So I mean, there's a few things we can do there, and they're pretty flexible as well, which is nice.
Awesome. Ant's Crypto Corner is asking, as Vintage Magic auto compounder?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think that's probably something that talk to the magic team about.
Yeah, we can ask them, right?
Mhm.
All right. Hello, player. Oh, Fizzle, by the way, agrees with you about people just can't expect to click a button and make yield for life. It's kind of true, right? All right. Hello, players, as saying, hello, devs. When would you add always or burning vintage only tools, minting, but near no one are minting now with the dropping chart? We need more burning for vintage than burning grape in the winemaker game. The main token is vintage. Grape is a forced coin only for skills and rest, but we're all working for vintage, not grape in winemaker game. So basically, please add burning and utility mechanism for the vintage token. This is it's kind of, that's what it's about. That's what the question is
Yeah,
about.
yeah, we'll do that for sure. It's coming.
Right. It's coming. It's gonna happen. Are they looking at this chat for the questions? Yes, Lettuce. However, I need to go through the rest first. But I'm here now. Fizzles says he's been working on the Grape Academy for a month now, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe so. How much vintage do we need to unstake master vintness? I guess, is this an AMA question? I'm not too sure. But
It was
50,
answered.
Looks like Lettuce
yeah,
answered it,
it's
so.
answered. It's answered. It's all right. It's unclaimed. SEC won't let me be. USA sucks. Ruin everything. Brown noses. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. USA does some good shit as well. I mean, they are a force, which is not necessarily positive, negative. It just is, right?
It's hard to brown
Um,
nose when we have our head so far up our ass.
I'm sorry.
It's hard to brown nose when we have our head so far up our ass.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, maybe that. However, they're pretty. There are a couple of big forces in the world. It's the USA, it's China, it's Russia, and I guess Europe as well. In a way, Africa, and I'm not sure if the USA is the worst of the bunch. That's just where I'm gonna
Yeah,
leave this at. But
yeah.
so it just is. And of course, yeah, their politics, especially on crypto, is quite slow. But on the same time, there's a big, there's kind of a huge crypto adaptation within the USA. So it's not all that bad, right? The grape burned with winemaker in news. All right, the grape burner with winemaker man has said 225 for a while now. Is it possible to get a running updated total of this somewhere as a selling point?
Yeah, we can pull that from there. I think from the contract. I mean, not directly from the contract. We'd have to calculate it, but possible. Yeah. I think it's a good.
Alright.
It's a nice thing to see. That's quite a lot. That's 5% of the supply.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty nice. So what, I'm gay as some other comments here. Thanks, bro. Danger zone. Will a grape notes holders APR go higher for V2? Will it go higher?
Yeah. If you compound, you get a higher APR.
All right. Captain Double Blade, I gotta mention. Right. Will the lotto work for mobile soon? Apparently it doesn't.
I'll have to. I'll talk to Nate about that. It should.
Should work, but it doesn't then, maybe, or maybe not on that mobile.
It's
Maybe
problem
check.
with mobile. There's a lot of environments. It's hard to make everything
Oh
compatible.
yeah. Oh yeah. All right, and I think I'm gonna end it with this one, which is lettuce. In regards to the lottery, we should do 50-50, and then where 50% is burned and 50% goes to the first, second, and third. I put this in suggestions too. It's a way to do lotteries, most certainly, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And then there were in the other question something. Oh yeah, they already copied that. Good. A suggestion for a side lottery, basically. Yeah. So it's like an extra one. Do we have a timeline for going back to PAG after wine press? A time? Yeah, we can't really say like, hey, then we are going to be back to PAG, right? Oh, you mean the campaign? Okay.
Yeah. Just waiting on the contract for that.
All right.
So I mean, it's going to be this week.
All right.
Yeah, this week we'll start it.
All right. Thanks, guys. I mean, there were so many questions. It was almost difficult to get through them, and I may have skipped on a little of them. I'm sorry for that. We try to answer everything. However, I hope I skipped only some good suggestions which can still be read, right?
Mhm.
So I hope we answered all of the questions. Both on the protocol and personal. Right. Dave, do you have anything to add before we close down this AMA?
Oh, nothing too crazy. I mean, from the Crayon Dungeon, we're getting some new casino cover images.
Nice.
2 more fatigue skill slots, right? LB.
Yeah, that's it.
2 new tools.
Mhm.
A couple charts on the to-do list. Yeah, lots to do.
Couple things.
If you want to know what's coming, ask the designer, right? They always know.
I always know. I don't always tell. Actually, I don't
Right.
always know either.
It's okay. Just pretend that you do. It's good. Awesome. LB, do you have anything to add before we close it off?
Yeah, well, I guess I'll just quickly say, a couple things this week coming up. Obviously, big one, wine press, and then at some point when it's ready, the peg campaign will start, and we'll do a bit of a marketing blast on that on the whole thing as well as the game and the casino, like show all the new kind of stuff that we've implemented in the very short term. And then I mean, obviously a lot of things to do. Basically, is a lot of things coming and a lot of things to do, but a lot of things will be coming out this month and in the next month as well. So it's gonna be busy, but it'll be fun. It'll be cool.
Yeah, pretty nice. Well, I guess I would like to add on or end on a note of hope, perseverance. No, maybe that's a bit too strong. But the thing is, right? We've been under pack for a while right now, and I guess for some people that might look a little bit scary, like, is this over? Are we done? But the truth of the matter is we have been under pack before, also in a difficult time, because this is essentially a very difficult time in the market. And we have been under pack before in a difficult time when Ukraine got invaded, and we've also been under pack before in other difficult times. And the thing that made us big right after that, but also which kind of still makes us big, is the fact that we survived. It's you don't always survive with flying colors, right? You don't just go through it like, oh, there's nothing happening. Of course, there's a lot happening. The whole economy is crashing down so much. However, however, the thing is, if you're a good protocol, and I believe we are, that means that at the very least we'll get through. We will survive, and we'll be under pack for a while, and maybe even a bit longer than just a short while. But I mean, we are using that time to innovate. There is all kinds of new games coming out. I mean, Vinion is soon to come out, so the utility is still increasing, and that means that as soon as people feel a little bit more, trusting towards the environment again, I mean the economic environment, then we'll be so far ahead of just the non-innovating protocols. Will just be so much more of an interesting place to be, simply because we have been surviving and have had continuous innovation going on. So I would say, don't worry, right? It's gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this. It's just gonna take a while, maybe, but there's just no way that a protocol which innovates so much as we do is gonna die, because we're just not gonna let it. And especially not
Yeah.
with this community and with all the things that we're doing, and a dedicated team like we have, right? It's just we're gonna continue, and then eventually we're gonna flow up again. This
Yeah.
just I mean, not financial advice, of course, but it's just my
No, that's a perfect point. I mean, it's we're going to continue to develop, and we're going to continue to build new things, and we're going to continue to adapt. That's kind of what you have to do in this market, in the crypto market in general. You can't just do the same thing. You need to adapt in order to grow and survive, and that's what we're gonna continue to do.
Yeah. And I do think you're just a great dev for that. I'm very happy to work with you, by the way. But
I did
Yeah, likewise.
I did get an answer from Nate. It is still true off-chain randomness. So
all right,
the casino.
awesome. Okay, with that, all of that said, I'm gonna end it here, and thank everyone who was here for their presence, and I think all of the community members for their questions, and you, Dave and Albie, for your answers, and would love to see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.